this is Pamela. This is Craft and Commentary, and I am right now showing you images of my latest creations using a technique that I invented. I do not believe anybody is using this technique anywhere on the globe, ever has, ever. Well, hopefully you will be using this technique to beautify the world. These involve a four-step process, which I am going to go through. I want to show you the final product first, so that you can become inspired and want to learn more. This is the final product right here. I hope you like them. We've got leaves, vases, and they are acrylic paint and with laser printing on top. Okay, so I gave you some of the secrets already. I start with a background. I use a Gelli-plate, essentially one that I made. Here is the commercial version. A lot of people use this. I am not paid by this company, but they were my inspiration, and I became enamored with the process, and I think a lot of you crafters out there can relate. As you can see, there's a brayer. This is a picture that comes on the product itself in the package, and actually here are some images. You put paint down on your Gelli-plate. You use a brayer to smooth it out. You use something to disrupt the image. You put your paper down on the plate. Put your paper, then you smooth it out, rub it down, and you pick it up, and you have a beautiful image. And here's some examples right here. So this is an 8 by 10, too small for me. So I make my own, and I will put the recipe in the show notes below. These are 12 inches by 12 inches, all of them. I just have a thing for square. I like this size. It works for me in how I display my work. So these are very kind of simple backgrounds. It's not really typical Gelli-plate work. So I just want to give you a little flip of these backgrounds. Basically, they have some luscious kind of textures. This one's a little interesting, kind of interesting. It kind of doesn't matter, you know, as long as you throw down some, it's sort of, you have to restrain yourself in a way. You have to keep it simple, because what you don't want to detract from the image that's going to go on top, which in my case is a picture of a leaf or a vase. So they're really pretty plain. But I use the Gelli-plate. I like to use the Gelli-plate because you can because the cleanup process is very quick. When you're using paintbrushes, you have to constantly clean your paintbrush. What I do in between is, where's an example? Almost all of these. This is the backs. I clean the brayer actually on the back. And while I'm on the subject, I use construction paper. And if people are familiar with my channel, they know I use construction paper. It's the kind of paper, it's some of the cheapest paper in the world, and used by 7-year-olds everywhere. So here, just a few more backgrounds. This one's a little more elaborate, might detract from my image on the front. The make them very simple. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you, after I show you the rest of these backgrounds, I use metallic paint. I use some paints that aren't so expensive, and sometimes the paint is important, can be important to the quality of your final piece. So here is, in fact, step 2. I went from step 4, the final, to step 1, which was the backgrounds. This is step 2. And this is the secret. This is my secret. Okay, folks? I actually print on top of my acrylic backgrounds with a laser printer. And for a long time when I got into crafting, I was always interested in getting images on top of my laser prints. So I got, as many of you do, into making stamps, making stencils. How do you get an image on top of a background? And I am not an artist. I could not draw this, but I can surf the internet, and this is a free piece of art from the internet. And I'm going to give you a link to a website that has some of the best vintage images, black and white images like these, and they are perfect for what I'm doing here. So I actually, and I'm going to show these backgrounds going into my laser printer. Now I'll get into it later, but my laser printer is a high quality laser printer. I'm not sure you would need one that's so high quality. Also, my laser printer allows very large pieces of paper. I mean, relatively large, larger than 8.5 by 11. So next, so after I put this, I print this, I have an outline. So what I do is I simply take a paintbrush and some acrylic paint, and I define the outline. I'm going to show you a number of examples of this. I defined the outline that I printed with my laser printer. I defined the outline, as you can see. So this is the intermediate step. This is step 3, okay? So I don't even know what these are going to look like. They're only in their partial stage here. And sometimes they don't look so great at this stage, and you get discouraged. But once you lay down, this one has great promise. The colors, everything about it is going to be beautiful. This is kind of interesting, this stark green, but once the image of the urn goes down, I have faith that it will look beautiful. So as you can see, I just took a paintbrush, and with my technique, you may do it differently, of course, but I like to keep this image very simple. One color. I've had, you know, like gradations of color here. It didn't seem to work. I like this to be stark color, very much kind of differentiated from the background. So this is just I think a plant pot or a plant. And thank you for watching. I'm going to show you some other things now. Here is an entire mural of 12 by 12 prints using my technique. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Want to say that, again, each one of those squares is 12 by 12. So this is about 52 inches by 77 inches tall. It takes up an entire wall. Each one of my prints was just stuck onto a black piece of craft paper. I actually had to extend the width and just put up with glue, and so then I mounted on the wall. So let me just zoom in a little bit. Okay, here we go. I'm going to be doing some Gelli-plate printing. This looks like a mess, but it isn't. I have these plastic pieces that cover my homemade Gelli-plate. I'm going to put a recipe at the bottom. So here it is. It is so amazingly awesome, and it is in this cake pan. You see it's very deep. And I'm going to take it out of here. Alright, people, it is friggin' substantial. It's right out of the refrigerator right now. I'm going to take the cake pan, I'm going to invert it like that. And actually I could use either side, I really don't mind. Let me see. I've been using this side, but it's got this funny indentation for some reason. Maybe it melted a little bit. But anyway, it works. This is an amazing thing, people. It is 13 inches by 13 inches, so that you see this? This is your everyday common. Wow, this thing cost me $3 for 50 sheets of construction paper. I'm going to open it up right now. And I'm going to get my construction paper. So each sheet fits like this on top. So as you can see, I get my squares. That's what I want. So it fits real nice. Okay, let's start our Gelli-plate printing. What are our tools here? Oh, making some noise. Here are my tools, people. Here's my tools, okay. A little bit of a rag there. We got a couple of these brayers. I imagine these are familiar to you. Okay. I have textures. I use this guy all the time. This is my amazing little tool. It cost me all of $1, and it is it's a mushroom brush. Okay. Here are my paints, you know. So there's tons and tons of information about paints out there. Okay, so on the floor. So what I'm going to do is I like to make my backgrounds very, very simple. Okay. So they're going to be very simple. I'm going to put a little yellow on that side, and I'm going to put some beautiful blue on this side, okay? And they're going to get merged They're going to get merged. So here we go. Alright. Alright, here we go. See, this is the fun part. This is so much fun. You know, there are people out there, I think that they have to go to Gelli-plate Anonymous, you know. Okay, I'm going to actually use a separate brayer right now, so we keep this nice and clean. The trick, people, is to clean everything. Absolutely clean everything. So we got our yellow over here. Alright? Now, the trick is keeping your colors clean. I mean, I see a lot of people doing Gelli-plate printing out there, and they really haven't thought this thing through that much. Maybe they got their Gelli-plate right out of the box. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge them. Actually, what I'm going to do is just go like this. So we have a nice merge in between. It's just the way I like it. You know, you guys do your own thing. There must be a million Gelli-plate tutorials out there. Now what I'm going to do with this mushroom brush here is I'm going to just give it some nice texture, okay? This is just what I do, alright folks? You know, it's just an idea, alright? And then I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to put it down like that. I'm going to get a little blue on my plate and I'm going to twist it just a touch, you see? Because what you want is to disrupt that image, right? So I'm going to just go like that, a little bit, like that, people. Now I'm going to switch it, okay? Very gently. Yeah, you can't overdo this. Definitely can't overdo this. Just take it easy. Take it easy. Don't go overboard. That's another mistake I think people make, is they go overboard. I'll tell you what, I consider that finished. Okay? Not another step am I going to do. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down real nice, like that. Okay? Now, being that this is 13 by 13, I have plenty to cut away, because what I like is to cut away the edges. Not these edges. These edges have to stay, so I really am extremely careful about getting the paint all the way to the edge. Alright? Alright? You got to get the paint all the way to the edge. There we go. Alright, now what I do is I clean the brayer. Clean the brayer. I clean the brayer and I clean the plate between each one. The idea, people, seriously, the amateur will make their colors muddy. It's almost, unless you're really smart. But I'm going to tell you, don't let your colors go muddy. And let me just say that if you want to look at a color wheel, people, look at a color wheel. You've got the primary colors and the secondary colors, okay? And if you mix, for example, orange, which is made from yellow and red, with blue, orange and blue, people, if you put orange and blue together, you will get brown. Let's go to the next one. If you put green and red together, you will get brown, okay? If you put, let's see, orange, green, if you put purple and yellow together, you will get brown. Brown or gray or an ugly color, okay? Alright, don't fool around, people. Don't fool around. You have to keep your colors clean. Unless you want a very kind of another mood, you know, which requires... Okay, here we go. So there it is, people. That is my background. Now, you know, again, this is nothing too much to speak of. It does have some texture. There's not too much ink, maybe too much paint right here. I don't like that, as you can see. Right in there, we put too much paint. And so it's got that look to it. I think we're going to live with it. Overall, it's a nice background. Now again, we're going to have the image here, and we're going to do the whole business with painting and putting down a laser print. It's gonna be beautiful. Thank you for watching. Okay, first we're going to show you how I make step 2. We have here a Gelli-plate background, and we're going to go to step 2. I have sent a signal to my printer here, and here it goes already. There it goes. I do have a large printer. And there it is. Okay, so what I have is a Gelli-plate background, as you can see. On top is a laser print image. So underneath is a Gelli-plate monoprint created with acrylic paints and the Gelli-plate process, and on top I just put an image with my laser printer. Okay? Do be careful with this. Do not take this process lightly. You know, do tests before you go ahead with this. Make sure that you don't destroy your printer. I cannot guarantee that this process works with jet printers. So that's that. Now, okay folks, just going to go through the process to see how I make my outline. I literally take the paint and squeegee it right down on the paper. As you can see here, I get plenty of it. I want a nice edge. I use some premium paint. I like premium satin by Craftsmart there, but you know your paints. I would say that not to use, absolutely do not use a flat finish. Do not use a dull flat finish for this, because the laser printing will not adhere. So I think I've got a good amount here, so I got to make a nice edge. Alright folks, I'm really not an artist, I just want you to know that. So what I do here is I develop techniques. That's my little out. And I actually sold one of these for $30, and I'm hoping that my mural will sell for maybe $800. I mean, I live in New York, folks, you know, those are the prices. In fact, you know, marketed the right way here in New York, you could get quite a bit of money. But as you can see, it just doesn't look like anything now, and it's getting more and more obscure by the moment. So this one has a shadow. I think I'm going to go in later with gray over the shadow. But for now, the vase itself is going to be this light color blue. And once the image goes on top to define everything beautifully, there'll be plenty of contrast, and it's going to be an interesting one. I'm using a light blue, very light blue, right out of the tube. And I kind of suggest using the colors right out of the container. I mean, I find all the time that when I start mixing the colors, in some ways I get in trouble. Not necessarily because my skill, but I just think that the color was just totally designed to be used as the color it came in out of the tube. You know, just go with it, people. Just go with it, people. You know, my father, he passed away in February. He was a commercial artist. He worked actually for Wrigley Gum, which I don't know if I want to admit that, because Wrigley Gum was not really known for great artistic advertising. But, you know, it was a good, secure job. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But he also did fine art. My father was an artist, unlike myself. I guess I got some design sense from him. And my mother. But what he said was really illustrative. I think it might be interesting for you folks to hear his philosophy. I'm gonna just take a little more dab here. Whoop, it's probably too much. Okay, I turn and I get these edges real nice, and sometimes it's good to go just a little beyond the outline. Gives it a good, like, extra edge. But you gotta be careful with this. You really do. Don't be sloppy. Seriously. Anyway, let me get back to my dad. He said that when he was a young artist, you know, and he was doing all his juvenilia, I guess, as his, you know, his artwork. You know, he just thought that he should, you know, give it all, you know, put all the bells and whistles and everything, and you know, throw in all the techniques and all the stuff. But as he got more sophisticated, his art became simpler. And the simpler his art got, the better it got. So that's a little secret from my dad, who I, of course, thought was a genius. I think I'm just going to fill this, this shadow in with blue. It's okay. I won't have a two-tone. I was doing two-tone with some others. So just, I think it's important to anywhere that the laser printing is going down, you want to cover it up. It's a nice color. So, you know, this doesn't look like anything. You know, I can't emphasize that enough. In fact, it looks a little bit, you know, dubious here. But I think you've seen now the final product. So you got to have some faith. You got to have some faith with these layers. So that's what he said. The simpler things get with your art, the better your art. Okay? That's just a little trick. Now, I want to say here that, of course, I should really emphasize, this must dry before you put it through your laser printer. I really didn't say that yet. So, important. This is all gooey. You do not want to put gooey stuff through your laser printer. And in a minute, you're going to see me put this through the laser printer, and you're going to see this very piece, as it gets transformed into the final product. Okay, now as you can see again, this is a background that is just sort of lots of texture. By contrast, this is very plain. Don't get into any gradations. I found that gradations don't work, but you know, your eye, it's up to you. I don't even want to say that because that goes without saying, I hope. It's all up to you, folks. I have looked at so many YouTube videos, and I know a lot of you can relate. I just love YouTube because you can get into the mind and get into so intimately with someone and their thought process, and it is just amazing, and it's so wonderful. But so here we go. That's it for now. On to the next stage. Okay, right now I'm going to cut down my pieces, my backgrounds, into my 12 inches by 12 inch square. So what I generally do with my Fiskars trimmer, which has been well used, as you can see, I'll put the model number in the show notes, is the first thing I do is I look at the 12 over here, if you can see that, the 12, and I just put that up there. I put it a little bit farther beyond, and as you know, I have a 13 by 13 jelly plate that I made, so that we have plenty of space. We've gone edge to edge on the 12 inch side of this 12 by 18 piece of construction paper. So I get myself, I take a look and I decide where I want to trim, but I love my trimmer, it's well used. Okay, so I've got it all into place, and I'm going to just trim that, and off comes, this is a little over 5 inches. Okay, then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to cut the other edge. I like to have nice edges when I can, and I'll bring that right up to 12. Can you see that? Right up to 12. There we go. And now we're going to trim it, and as you can see, it is 12 inches here. So it's a nice square 12 by 12. So down we go, and we're all ready with our background. And this is so exciting. This is an exciting part of the process when you have your backgrounds. Okay, YouTube, I just want to go through the 4 processes just in overview. So here's the background that we just clipped. Here's another background. This is the first layer. You got to make your background. I use construction paper. I use the Gelli-plate process, monoprinting. Next step. Step 2. Get the image on the background. Okay? This is using laser printing. Next, you take this and you define the outline of the image with acrylic paint. In this case, it's a different image, same idea, but you cover up everywhere and define the edge of that image with laser printing. And the final step is the second hit. This is step number 4, and you put the image, you print the image on top. So in theory, it should be exactly where you put your outline. Okay, here are my files, my computer files. So just want to go through the leaves that I have here. So I have 24 leaves. So these are my files. So the different leaves. There's a tulip tree. Most of them I don't know. Maybe that's an oak of some sort. Maybe that's a poplar, something like that. Somebody say a cottonwood on this? You're going to correct me down in the show notes. This, I think, is a Japanese maple. This is an oak. Don't know about this one. Like a houseplant. This one looks like a maple. I don't know what this is. Sassafras. There's a pin oak. Let me go back to the front again. I don't know, an elm of some sort. Don't know. I don't know what these are. This is a ginkgo. A lot of these in city environments. Maybe an elm. I don't know. An oak. Who knows? I'm not very good with the leaves. Anyway, they are pretty. So that's the leaves. Let me show you the my files. I have about 36 or so of these. I haven't even done them all. Different. As you can see, I don't know if you can, but this is 12 by 12. I can, let's see, show, let's see. Okay, so anyway, that's okay. Let's keep looking. All of these, as you can see, have the potential to be beautiful pieces of art when you use my techniques. And all of these images come from a website out of Florida, something Florida Technical Institute. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to give you the link below. So we got over 35 of these vases. So you can kind of see them. And these are my files. This is what I send to my laser printer. Okay, here's my laser printer, and here is my image. Okay, let's go through the steps. Let's make sure we got this right. Okay, we start with a piece of construction paper. We use the Gelli-plate monoprinting process with acrylic paints to make a background. On top of the background, we, as we saw before, we put down an image. Okay, then on top of that image we make the outline with another layer of acrylic paint. You let the paint dry in between every layer, obviously. Okay, so once you have this is the fun part, people. This is the final process. Now, if I may say so, be extremely careful about making sure that you have the right image that you're putting on top. With printing, with laser printing, you know, if you're not fully awake, checking, double checking, triple checking, you could put down the wrong image on top and you'll be very, very upset because you spent a lot of time getting to this point. So I'm going to put it in and it should go right through real nice. Okay, there we go. I had to push a little button there. I know my machine. My machine, okay, it didn't work. Okay, out of paper jam. I don't know why that happened. think I'm going to cancel the job. I'm going to send a signal again. So I'll do that as quick as I can. But not too fast that I make a mistake. Okay, we just sent another signal. It says we're processing job. Alright, it does take a little bit of a while because, well, this is an old machine. Okay, here we go. Press that in there. Looks like it took. Excellent. There we go. Now I'm going to grab it from behind. And how do you like that? Is that stunning or what? It's absolutely stunning. I'm really, really proud of this technique. Here is, well, it got a little bit bent, but that can be straightened out. You can guard against that. I will say that I have been battling printers such as this one and jet printers and printers for decades, literally decades, since the computer came out. So they, it's never easy, I will say. You have to have patience. But when you see something like this, you can really say, wow, it was definitely all worth it. You've got a little metallic in there. And the paint, this paint is a satin. You don't want to use flat paint here. I want to reiterate that. I also want to reiterate to be very, very careful before you do this. I would say before you use your laser printer in this way, that you do a very small test with a very small patch of acrylic paint and put it through and just see if this process works for you. If your laser printer becomes gummed up and destroyed by this process, I have to say that I cannot, take responsibility for that. So thank you so much for watching. There it is, folks.